Nice and loud, please.
All right. Well, we had a couple more people that were here with us that contributed great ideas. MATC and UW. I don't recall what office she sat in.
Community Relations.
Director of Community Relations. Anyhow, a very rich discussion of people from just a wide variety of backgrounds. And so we came upon this idea of reducing racial disparities as the overall goal. And in order to get there, we had a number of approaches, but we felt like you needed to have sort of the how or some principles, and some principles that really shape the work. And those are non-siloed, so building bridges between silos, right? Collaborative work, cradle to career really resonated with us, and holistic. The work needs to be holistic. So we thought about three different ways to approach the work. One, we need to be looking at human capital, and I'll get into that in a second, social capital, and financial capital, okay? So on human capital, it's about early childhood, youth development, looking at the achievement gap, looking at health outcomes, looking at incarceration rates, and that could be built up as well. Social capital, here we're building community. We're looking at neighborhoods. We're looking at building up individuals within communities, so some leadership work. And then we're also looking at the housing piece of that. And then finally the financial capital, and that is sort of the workforce development. And from there, it's everything from youth, adult, on to seniors. Again, another space that could be built up. But really, it's three prongs. It's the human, social, and financial capital, all building up to reducing racial disparities.
Thank you.
So we did some brainstorming about some of the things that came out of last week. And then we started to think about our focus of who we're looking at, and we decided our focus was around birth through 30-year-olds. And we wanted to focus on the elimination of equity gaps. But we wanted to rephrase that so it's not from a negative point of view, so we're talking more of that asset-based way to have things. So where we ended up coming out of our big problem statement was about creating the national model in which all persons from birth to 30 years old in all racial groups have equitable opportunities and outcomes in Dane County. And then the next part of that would be, in order to improve the overall health and wellness of our citizens, we didn't come up with a framework. It might be collective impact, but we didn't get to that yet. So we're using a blank framework to bring all sectors together across, and then we use those 5 key conditions for collective impact, so that's how we're organizing them. And then we would list all the different sectors that would be included in that, so that would be like education, media, things like that. So.
Thank you.
Did I get it?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Your framework would be the social determinants of health of the population institute. Your framework there could be the social determinants of health from the university.
Okay.
Population Health
Okay.
Institute.
Thank you.
Hi. So our group was composed of someone who's interested in personal health and well-being and shifting the focus from a reactionary model to the upstream model, sort of in line with social determinants of health. We had Captain Roman from the police department, who's interested in building community relationships and making sure that people's needs are met, because crime and sort of deviant behavior comes from when people don't have good support around them. FROT is all about creating a thriving environment and connecting people, building relationships, and sees the importance of creating space for that to happen. Did I capture that closely? Okay. And then we had a representative here from Madison College, who is very interested in the education approach, but also looked into models of basic income and guaranteed income. So the common theme that emerged, in addition to some of my comments, were that a future state or a goal should be to make sure that people have all of their basic needs met, so that they have the opportunity to be empowered, contributing, productive, equal members of society. That many of the